I have kind of a tough question for you, and this is a question that I asked a lot of the CEOs that I've interviewed, and all the CEOs seem to be challenged by this as well. So on the one hand, everyone wants to have this culture of authenticity, of transparency, being your true self. On the other hand, there's a lot of talk about cancel culture in organizations, right? Where, be authentic, but if you say the wrong thing, people might come after you. How do you balance these two things? And has this happened to you? Have you struggled with this as an individual or inside your company of the authenticity and transparency with, the cancel culture?
Yeah, it is every company in America today, right? Regardless of whether you're 30,000 employees or 3,000, we're kind of a microcosm of America, right?
Yeah.
And then if you're global, it's the different cultures around the globe, but definitely in America. And today our country is divided and there's lots of issues. So you have to figure out when you talk to your employees, because as they say, one person's elixir may be another person's poison. And how do you, without being too politically correct, how do you make sure that you're taking into account, because what you don't want in a company is further polarization.
Yeah, exactly.
Because as a leader, our jobs, leaders need to unite, harmonize, align, because at the end of the day, you're in the business of serving consumers rather than having politics. So you do want people to be able to express themselves, but there's also express themselves in the context of the culture you have in your company.
Yeah.
Because different companies have different cultures,
Yep.
and what may be acceptable in one company may not be acceptable in another. And so I think having a little bit of EQ for the employees, because trying to understand where are the unwritten boundaries. So just because you want to be authentic, and if someone's behavior is not so great, you don't want to tell them to the face, hey, you're a real jerk, because that may produce a different reaction.
Yeah.
So I think it is, but you do want leaders have an obligation, a moral obligation, to allow different voices to be heard. And leaders have to intervene a bit if someone is trying to cancel someone else out, and say, hey, hold the brakes, put the brakes on, at least listen to them. You don't need to agree. And in organizations, we want employees to be teammates and comrades in arms, if you will, battling the competition, pleasing the consumer. But they don't need to be best friends. But they at least need to listen to each other. And even it's okay to agree to disagree. But not listening to someone else's point of view is not acceptable, because you need different voices to be heard. And this is where leaders set the stage and model behavior. And hey, do leaders elicit different opinions? So in my leadership team, I go around the room to get everyone's opinions. And I want more divergent opinions rather than everyone trying to agree with me. And then we debate it. And the fact that you're debating issues versus silencing, because I think the cancel culture is when you just silence someone, no one likes that. But I think if you can air it and reasonably listen to each other's points of view, and sometimes you may just say, hey, let's agree to disagree. But at least listening and then saying what is the best thing for the company, I think goes a long way.